Gonna wait for the to finish. But hello everyone. I'll be filling in for Chris Atos Spears today. Stalling for time for those who are watching an ad. All right, maybe we're all caught up. So hi everyone, my name is Keith Quinn. I go by Sannio on the forums. I am one of the designers on Shroud the Avatar, an online massively multiplayer game, role-playing game. Already getting questions. Monty's asking when do prizes for the live stream get sent out. I don't know. We'll have to ask Chris. Chris will probably pop on in a little while, maybe like half an hour or so, I think, and he'll probably be able to answer questions like that. He couldn't start the stream though, so he asked for someone to help out. That's why I'm here. We're back to Ulfheim. So in our game, we have a scene called Ulfheim, which is what we call a clone of another scene. We're looking right now at the altered version, but let me switch something for a second. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Selecting the wrong thing. Alright, so here's the old Ulfheim, the current Ulfheim. And you can see it's pretty simple. It's not that big. And in the center, there are barbarians who hang out in their grand hall. There's some rocks, kind of a hilly mountain sort of thing. So the reimagined version is it's a little more wet with snow. There will be a big open free combat sort of area, and then you will come inside this gate, fight a wave battle here, and once you finish the wave battle, this gate will open. You'll come up here, and up here is the treehouse area. You'll be able to have some free fighting around here as well. Eventually you'll come up this ramp. I was going to say stairs, but it's a ramp. Fight your way through here. We came in from right here. You can see in the center, that's the top of the valley ramp that we came in. So now we're crossing the bridge. You'll fight some things over here. Eventually get to this ladder. Go up. Continue across here. Cross another bridge. Fight your way through here. There's another ladder, but you can probably jump down without any kind of issue. Fight some guys. There'll be a doorway here. You'll do some sort of gimmick to open the doorway. You'll make your way across the bridge. And by the way, there's that first valley, the wave battle that we talked about. You'll cross over here. Come through here. Some free fighting over here as well. Just casual combat. Come into here. Will it be ready for R68? No, it won't. It's a priority for me, but I have a lot of things that are equal priority. So these changes won't be in for release 68, which is I guess in a week. There'll be another wave battle here. You won't be able to get into those buildings, so you'll be contained to this area. And then when you go through here, there will be a much nicer looking grand hall that will have its own wave battle with kind of a boss field situation. There you go. That's the gist of it. Every time we come back to one of these reimagining Ulfheims, I just do some more decoration in some of the areas. Like I do some of this and make sure that everything's like sealed in how I want it to be, and there's ways to get back, like the ladder or that the doors work. We left off over here last time. I was doing this area right here, so I think I'll do more of this treehouse platform plateau area. Before we go anywhere, if you want to see like some of the other pieces you don't normally get to see, these trees are based on the old terrain shape which is just hidden right now. So a lot of these trees will get moved up to the other area. And sometimes I talk about the there will be side activities that will affect the final battle and maybe affect your virtue. And these are actually the pieces of those side activities. So those are actually done. When I'm done shaping the upper area, I will start placing these in. So there'll be each major section, valley, treehouse, village, will have one of these. So like valley, treehouse, village, valley, treehouse, village, valley, treehouse, village. And depending upon which one you pick, if I commit to this side activity with this wolf, then that locks out the other side activities and I need to commit to this. If I don't want to finish it, that's fine. But if I do all three of the wolf side activities, then that will affect the final battle. Excuse me. Is there a quick way out when you've killed everything you want to? I'll have to see about that. Maybe. I do love that kind of idea. It depends upon how I set this final area up. At worst, I think you'll be able to... I like the idea that you can always go backwards without a struggle. So like, let's say you kill the boss right here, and you leave. Depending upon what I do with this side of the area, worst case scenario, you can go through the gate or up this ladder, out this way, and there's a ladder up here, probably jump over, and then you just run through here, or jump up here and over here, and then you can sort of like bounce down the side of these mountains. Like, I don't want you climbing up the mountains, but I don't mind you jumping down the mountains for an easy way to get out. Hey Sannio, could you do a grove where tree nodes will be more condensed or present, but like mines, currently wood-cutting trees are scarce? I don't know if I would specifically set that up, because a general premise of resource nodes, whether it's trees or ore or whatever, is there needs to be some sort of threat in the area. And it doesn't have to be literally on each node, because the nodes can be randomized. So there might be, say, 10 spots for iron ore, and maybe 6 of those 10 spots might have ore. And if one goes away, its replacement might actually be across the way. And maybe there was no threat right next to the first spot, but maybe there's a threat next to the second one. So as you move around, there are threats that you encounter. So there needs to be some sort of challenge and threat like that. I don't imagine there would be any reduction of threat in this area. I think I might need to consolidate some of these trees and resource nodes. I mean, there's plenty of places for mining, but like cotton and trees, it's possible. We'll see. Maybe at best there might be one sort of chance that an area would cluster with extra. And then, so you'll say maybe not in Ulfheim, but in another zone. Yeah, perhaps. I don't know that we'll be changing many zones, but I do go back to some zones sometimes. Like when we put in Krampus, I changed some of that area. When we put in the Envy Angel, I reworked some of that area. So, some areas do get some additional love once in a while. And sometimes I'll just be wandering around, whether I'm just kind of playing or testing, or just someone asks me to look into something. I might see something like I don't like I might say, maybe I'm looking into like a stuck spot or a resource node you can't harvest, and I'll be like, something's not right with this area. I need to sort of like maybe clear some space over here, maybe fix the nodes so that they're all accessible in such a way, and then I might change some stuff around. So it's possible. We do like when we put in the clumps or clusters of harvesting nodes, that actually, it was just sort of a risk we took, low risk, because we were putting in the same number of nodes when we started redoing some areas. But we decided, what, maybe it would feel better if when players went to a cluster of nodes, they could feel like super productive in a certain spot, and then they'll still have to move to another spot uh, that might have a cluster, or maybe it's just a few. But for at least one moment here, sometimes they'll have like a feeling of excess productivity. And so let's take that. And players actually, I guess like yourself, they just really liked it. It just worked out well. It's got a good feeling to it. So we'll definitely keep it in mind for future. Mostly it's an over thing, but I can't see why it wouldn't necessarily be a tree thing. Uh, One risk about the trees is if randomly the trees aren't there sometimes, or it's light, maybe we put out space for, let's say over the top, let's say 6 trees or 7 trees, but maybe randomly there's like 1 or 2 trees that could feel super empty. So we have to really sort of like kind of balance it with like sometimes there'll be something there and sometimes there's not. So I wouldn't ever want it to feel blank. Excess productivity. And all right, so let's get back. Let's get back to my area. I saw my. I think my video getting a little choppy. Hold on a second. Future. Mostly it's a. The chat seems fine. I'm not sure why my video looks choppy. Maybe it's just me. So Legion of the Myth says the clusters in Elysian mines and your rooms and Esther Craig mines are really nice. Yeah, that's we're happy with them. We'll definitely do that more often with certain types of things. I mean, you don't necessarily expect to see a, a big field of garlic. I guess it's possible though. We did do like in Salisbury outskirts. There's the cotton field, so we did do a cotton there. Uh, just check something. Is he moving at 3 FPS on the screen? Yeah, it's doing that for me too, and I don't know why. That's what I was trying to figure out. See if I can close some things down to see if I can help the FPS. Uh, just gonna check some settings real quick. Someone asked my mic to be louder. I adjusted my mic a little bit. I don't know if that'll help. If anyone has any suggestions for Streamlabs OBS settings, feel free to give me a suggestion to improve my video. I'm not really sure how to fix that. I'll put alright, we'll just keep going, I guess. And I'll be super choppy. Alright, so back to... I'll try not to move and you won't notice it. Okay, back to this area of Ulfheim, the treehouse area. So we were here before, and we were putting in some paths. turn the lighting on. Oops, wrong one. And of course, this is going to be like a normal sky dome, like every other area, so there'll be night and day cycles and different weather activities, events. When I'm all done, I'll go to the bottom of these things and make sure that everything kind of sits flat. I can see that's a little weird right there. I wish the trees would actually have been made with an extension instead of just stopping at whatever they thought was the actual ground. It's really not how games work, tree designers. What's not going to work? I don't remember which tree is which. That one works as a replacement. Put another one right there. Oh, right on that thing. Gonna light on fire. It's crazy. All right, we'll start. We'll go back to the valley. I think my video caught up for some reason. All right, cool, awesome. So we're gonna go to the left. I'm gonna turn the lights off. I usually like working with the lights off. So this is an extra piece. Let's put that out of the way for a second. Well, this might be too high. Let's bring this whole thing down a little. I really meant to have that tree over there. Did I? Maybe I like that there. I'm leaving it. Where'd those rocks go? Oh, there they are. Another thing where they finish it off. As a designer, I actually want to turn these things sideways sometimes. You know, I want to be able to turn it this way and that way, and not sort of put it down with the expected flatness. And they didn't even put this over here, so I can't even put it flat. It's weird. I say weird to you, rock creator fellow, madam, person. So this will be one spot where you probably can jump down. So be careful about these rocks, because sometimes these rocks make stuck spots. Any kind of lumpy thing makes bad nav mesh or stuck spots troublesome. I do like these rocks in general. I don't like these trees here that are blocking me. I don't know what's going to go over here, but I need to leave my space. Owen Moon says, I've seen way too many trees floating over a hillside. Yep. Yeah, that's because... So, we've made some trees, but we've picked up a lot of trees from the Unity store or somewhere. And some trees are great, because they'll actually... like this tree, the base of this tree is there, and it actually goes a little further. So no matter what sort of hill, as long as the hill's not super crazy, it'll just work. It's great. This tree is the same tree, or same set, so yeah, they do the same thing. That tree sort of dips in the ground. But do these trees? That one does not. That's not good. Yeah, this one has a little bit, which is, it's a little weak, but good, good. And any amount is good. See, that one's top notch. Those guys were thinking, whoever set that up. Oh, that's our same problematic tree. This is a big problem everywhere. I'm gonna have to pay extra attention to those trees when I scoot around. Got these. Barely, but some. Some is better than nothing. I lost track where it was. Always with these rocks. I'm gonna move these, more of these rocks here and there. Whoops. Oh, something's wrong with that ground right there. I'll have to work that out. Let me work my way over from here. Some of this needs to sink a bit. Will this be where the Wyvern Destroyers spawn? I don't remember. I know Wyverns may be involved in some of the battles, depending upon how you participate in the battle. 3 words, says XXR Hardy. Squirrel, boss, mob. That'd be pretty funny. Difficult to ask what map is this. This is Ulfheim. Past few streams when I come on, I talked about reimagining Ulfheim a little bit. And this is that reimagining. So I've mentioned a couple times in the past, it's nice to have snow drifts and sand. So it's weird angles right now, but in a second I'm going to smooth it out and it's going to look pretty good. And this is all, of course, early pass. Nothing is set in stone yet. Even the rocks are not set in stone. Then we'll make some adjustments depending upon what the final visual looks like, what I want it to look like, and then run it through it, see how it feels. A couple of the other developers, especially Travis Liss Rostov. He's the real world builder. I'm just the backup world builder. Let's undo this a little bit. Get some of these rocks up. I didn't like it. There you go. Yeah, that might be good. Kind of like that angled gimmick going on here. The same thing. Look over here. Big tall human NPC shouting obscenities trying to kill you with a frying pan. Not exactly. I will mention that I asked for Beezus to make me a special, slightly bigger than normal boss for the barbarian leader. So he did that. So we will see unusually tall barbarian in the final battle. It's a little tall, but I'm just going to use it for measurement. There we go. Barbarian leader with frying pan. I'm not sure about that. We'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to it when the boss fight actually is set up. We'll assess things at that time. Inside the rock right now. For those who don't know, I am the top dog level designer and quest guy here on Shroud the Avatar. The guy who makes the quests and puts in the quests and quest bad guys and good guys. The guy who tries to fix the compass markers when they're broken. I've been doing a lot of that this past week. Some of those are mine, so it's easy to fix those bugs. Some of the bugs are from previous developer efforts. It's a little tough for me to do those because I got to research them and figure out what all the pieces are and make sure I'm not skipping anything or breaking anything. Definitely don't want to just remove something just because one little piece is broken. Usually if I'm researching it, I might as well just like fix it. And a lot of times when I'm researching it, I'll fix all the extra pieces too. You know, maybe it's not just the compass markers that are the problem. Maybe there's some other issues, and I'll try to fix everything at the same time. Usually it goes pretty good. It doesn't always go 100%, but I try. Look at them skills. I bet he can plaster a wall in no time. I do not do real construction work. If the way to plaster a wall was just by clicking a mouse and just wiggling it left and right like I'm doing right now, then I should put that under my job skills. So a little bit of a bump. Sounds pretty good. Probably don't need anything there. Why'd you want a frying pan, by the way? Is it random? Or is there some reference that I'm not picking up on? So I do put in like little Easter eggs and stuff, and if there's a fascinating enough connection. Like I don't think the bad guy would have a frying pan, but Could be worked in somewhere. We've worked in pop culture references and relatives and things like that. Oh, they're cannibals, frying pan food. I see. Oh, that's interesting. They are cannibals, and that was my idea, by the way. And I was a little worried that some of the team wouldn't want to go for the cannibal thing, so I sort of slipped it in as a sort of a subtle thing until eventually it sort of became recognized and understood that this is what's been going on with the guys. That's how you gotta do it. You gotta be slick. I knew Richard would like it because Richard likes going a little off the mark once in a while with some things. You know, sometimes there's children that are stuck in combat, and the cannibal stuff was he definitely would go for. So eventually, you know, we put in the barbarians, and eventually I sort of started being more open about, like, yep, they're cannibals, and everyone was cool with it. So you imagine a big tall cook named Gordon Gamsey yelling things like he's in Hell's Kitchen. No. Maybe there'll be a lieutenant somewhere in one of these battles. Now let's do some painting. Before we get the snow, let's get some regular colors in there. Someone asked last time about why the trees keep blinking out. It's because every time you see my cursor, it's that special bluish-purple circle. And every time I click the mouse and I'm painting on the terrain, the grass and the trees get out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. It's a nice little gimmick. I can actually turn them off if I wanted to. There's a thing over here. Where is it? See, I just turned off all the trees right there. Kind of don't want to turn them off though. I like seeing them. There are more houses coming soon. Espino, Portland. Really need more choices. Maybe just bring back more of the old ones permanently. I know new house types and house variants of stuff we bring up, and I think we'd like to bring them in more often. So keep an eye out. Town houses were something that for a while we've realized we didn't have enough, and I know we're making variants on those. I don't know the full plan with that. It would be Starr and Travis and Damon. I think are the guys who are sort of spearheading that direction. Alright, so back up here a little bit. Get some snow. Switch to this. Drop it down a bit. Assume the snow's on top of things. And this is our rock to snow transition. Maybe this will be okay in here. Now this is a transition snow to grass. Some value in there. I like checking in on you guys once in a while, watching you amuse yourselves. I'm gonna have to come back in afterward and do another straight up snow pass on some of the stuff up there. I don't want it super flat, but I do want it mostly flat. We'll kind of rumple it up a little bit when I'm done. RPG Rules is doing the raffle gimmick. There's no raffle currently today. Chris is the one who does the raffle, not me. Chris will actually be stopping in soon, I think. So when he stops in, I guess you can ask him if he's doing the raffle. Oh, I'm doing too much there. I'm not going to sweat it too much. I'll come back later and do some grass. Saving right now, save early, save often, no matter what computer program you're using. Gwendolyn Obscura says it's nice to have a variety of devs stream, but Chris should show everyone how to raffle. Yeah, he's got a special plugin that he uses and his own kind of system. So Evocation says, so tell me, are all your tools to shape the land all macroed on a mouse? Or do you click each one individually? I click each one individually. So you can see the panel in the middle. I'm going to point to it right now. Let's see. Here. The panel in the middle, it is the terrain transformation tools. And there's toward the top of it, there are a selection of options. I use raise and lower terrain, paint terrain, set height, smooth height. When I pick paint terrain, for example, I get this palette of terrain layers, and you can see there's 8 options right here. And then I choose one of the options. It's hard to see, but as I click on one, it highlights a little bit, and there's a little colored bar underneath. So right now, I'll select the top right one, which is the mostly grass version. You can see it's slightly underlined. And then I have a brush that is a bunch of circles, it looks like. It's not a single circle. We'll switch it. So now it's a single circle. And then back to sort of like a rugged one. And I can, in that same sort of brush size, it's hard to see. Scroll it up maybe. So I can pick the brush shape here, and the brush size is also something else I can pick. So you can see my dots are bigger now. I can make it, that's a 4, let's make it like an 8, so you see they're even bigger. and I can tap it just for a little touch of it, or I can just sweep it across for a lot. Kind of do it in the same spot that something else is. So let's I can do it like this. I can hit undo. That's a great thing with this. You can see it disappearing on undo. Undo doesn't work really well in Novia. Novia is so big and there's so many things going on. Sometimes I hit undo and nothing will happen, or it won't undo with terrain change. It might undo an object movement change. It's kind of a pain. So this treehouse right here, let's give it a better place to go. Move it over here. Put some more space. I don't know, town square sort of attitude, maybe. Not every tree house needs to be right next to every other tree house. So I like that shape. That facing. Kind of like the ladder to face the heart of the scene, so that's probably good right there. This over here, I might move some things around, but let's put it. We have to bring the ground up a little bit. That should do okay. Alright, save it again. Monkey Smack 1 says, do you do any steps to optimize the scene for performance? There's a couple of things you do beforehand and things you do afterhand. So one of the things you do beforehand is, so when we're painting, you can see I have 8 terrain layers. If I have 9, then that's sort of, I don't know the details, but there's something about like a pass. If there's 8 things, that's terrain layers. I think we're supposed to do them in groups of 4 or 8. So if you're doing a 5th one, you might as well do 8. If you're doing a 9th one, you might as well do 12. But we try to, for the bigger scenes, we stick with 8 terrain types. So that's a optimization preparation concept. And there's some things with trees that we do similar, and grass and stuff like that. But there are also ways you can do an optimization pass afterwards, which sometimes Chris and Travis do those. I don't usually do that. I kind of trust a lot of my stuff is already optimized. There are things, let's see. So like I clicked on this crate, and if you see in the top left, there's something called an LOD group, and it's a bar with 3 colors, green and gray and then red. So we're in the green zone right now. It's called LOD 0. And if you know programmers, they like to start their numbering schemes from 0. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So LOD 0 is the base distance check thing. So right here it's a full LOD quality. And you can see a little camera marker. As we go backwards, you see the camera marker changes. And then in a second, boom. So now it's actually a lower quality version of that crate because we've backed up enough that we're in the LOD 1 range, not LOD 0. And then if I back up even more, and watch the crate I have selected at some point. Alright, so now the crate disappeared. I don't know if you saw it. Let's, so there should be a crate like kind of in the middle, and as we get closer, see how the crate comes and goes? So that's an optimization gimmick right there. We also have, when we spawn bad guys, and you can see some of the spawners out here, these green markers that are temporarily inside the rocks. When we spawn them in basically like a group, and if there's a group in the northeast corner, we don't want to have that same group trickle over into southeast corner. because if you're triggering any one of the group, you're triggering the whole group. So if you're coming in from the southeast, you should only be encountering guys in the southeast group, and they're not activating guys across the scene that you can't even encounter yet and would be taking up performance cycles or whatever buzzwords you want to use. Alright, so I'm gonna drop the area a little bit here. Because it's all kind of raised and flat-ish, and that's fine, but I got to thinking about this area over here, and I kind of like it having like a slow, lazy ramp in some places here. So there's my low point right here. Not crazy low, but a little bit low. And then I'll sort of... To me, I like building in steps. Whoops, that's too much, but that's okay. And if you build it in slow steps, or shallow steps, people don't notice it so much. I kind of like the idea of this area here being lower than some of the other areas. Because these barbarians haven't flattened the area. They live here. They use the natural shape of the terrain. I'm kind of making that up as I go, of course. I don't really have any... oops. We don't have any sort of mandate that says barbarians make use of the terrain. It just kind of became obvious that they have these tree houses, and oh, Lis Rostov is here. Look at him. You gotta smooth brush your steps. Yeah, absolutely. I step it up, then I smooth it up, and then I kink it up afterwards, so it's not perfect. Sometimes it kinks up on its own, and you kind of want to leave it sometimes. Shouldn't really feel like I did anything too much to it. I think this is Lis Rostov's first time seeing this, because I haven't checked any of this in yet, so it's new to him. I don't even know if he saw the other streams I did. Let's get... actually, let's do this. Why is it not doing it? Oh, got the wrong one selected. Just kind of wrecking it a little bit. Sir British? You mean Lord British? Lord British? Is he here? I don't know what you mean by here. He's not in the scene because I'm the only one in the scene. It's on my own computer here. If you mean in my house, he is not in my house as far as I know. For those who don't know, office space is expensive and sometimes annoying, and so we actually work out of our homes these days. And my dog, although he's not pestering right now, my dog is super happy with that switch. And usually he comes over when he hears me talking. Anyone who's seen this stream before with me knows that Hero likes to come check things out, get my attention, exploit the situation to get extra dog treats. That's what he does for sure. Can't blame him though, he is training me well to give in. That's a dip might be a little bit much. I don't know. It was more than I intended, I think. It's hard to see sometimes. This feels a little bit better. Can you see it maybe? See the bumps, slopes. Shane BS says I walked in my cousin playing OU. I think you mean UO, Ultima Online, back in the 90s. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Good luck on the project. Thanks. I'm doing pretty good. Fix some of these. I don't like that spot right there. Just hear him barking. Nope, he's gonna want in. You know he can get in on his own. He barks until I come let him inside. Help him. We'll see if he keeps doing it. The odds are good. He'll bark again and again. So now it's good. And now I kind of don't like this up here. This feels like a stuck spot waiting to happen. You guys hear my dog barking probably? There's another dog nearby who also barked, so they're barking back and forth. Why is Sannio barking? I think maybe Travis should make a hero head for my dog Hero. That's a note. It's up to Travis, though. No pressure. I'm sure none of you guys will also pressure him to make a head of Hero. Oh, there's a tree in there. That tree. Someone's gonna get stuck in here for sure. I'm probably gonna put a something there to keep people from going in. I don't know if you guys saw that, but this tree right here, these trees are four of the same trees, and yet it picks up color cues from the terrain and it colors them slightly different. That's pretty awesome. Just 1 second. JBSS, how long have I been a game dev? I was a volunteer first on Ultima Online for a little over a year. And then in 2001, I joined Ultima Online as a community guy, and I did that for like 3 years. And then I switched to be in game support for a few years. And then I forget the actual year, but then I joined Dungeon Runners as a game designer, and then I stayed as a game designer. So, I don't know, 12 years, something like that, more. It's Hero. Hero, look at your fans. Yeah, he's busy. What else? Am I closer to 20? Well, 2001 is when I got in the game industry. So that part is close to 20. And I definitely contributed to game design ideas when I was in community relations and game support and all that business. But as far as when I got the title officially, I think it was like 2006, 7, something like that. So I have these colliders here and there. These colliders are just like blockers to keep you from going into areas that you shouldn't. Actually, I have a pre-created one. So I don't want people getting stuck in here, so I'm gonna block off big chunks of this anyway, so do something like that to it. So now you can't get in there and get stuck. Maybe I'll put some extra decorations in there to make it seem more obvious as to why you're not getting stuck. Invisible walls, yeah. I don't like invisible walls in general, but rather than have an invisible wall than to have a support problem. Much like you need to balance your game design, you need to balance your support design. So this shed I kind of liked here. Let's sort of turn a little bit back from the road a little bit to make sure no one's getting stuck in these angles. I put something over here, I don't know what, but it's one thing I will do as far as like the bumpiness quality. I'm going to actually make it pretty flat right underneath this. Just kind of pick a height. I kind of wanted to have this one over here somewhere. Trim a little bit. Trim a little bit. And we'll do the same thing, pick a height and flattish. No, this was already kind of flat over here, so works out. And then since both of these are well, they're right now they're identical. There's a cheap way to just make it not identical. Just move a few things around. I also like to make sure that my boxes aren't facing the same ways. There are times when some of our, like, well, not just ours, like any game, I look at a stack of crates and I'm like, oh man, these are all sort of like lined up mathematically perfectly. It does not look good. And I like to kink them up. Oops, not like that. Like that. And then you can see how this is vertical and this is vertical. Why not do that? Horizontal, vertical panels. Why not, I say? Go there. And things like this, you can sort of like grab a couple things and just kind of rotate Do some of the same things again and again. It just kind of works out well. Oops. Oopsie. That looks very different. See different silhouettes. So I'm actually going to move them here. Just kind of like to make sure that no one's going to get stuck. That's a breakaway crate, so is that barrel, so you really can't get stuck there. Breakaway. Everything looks good. It doesn't look like anyone's going to get stuck here, so that's also good. Saving. See all these bracer beams right here, they're all just kind of clipping into the tree. Now inside the tree, we see how they're all sort of reaching in. Behind the scenes nonsense. This is kind of where I kind of do that fake root gimmick that I did over here. What was that? Yeah, is it the wrong tree? Actually, well, not this tree, let me do it here too. Sorry if I zip around too fast for some people. Try not to do too many wiggles, but it's unavoidable a lot of times. So I had weird heights before, and I stepped the heights, and now I'm sort of screwing that up a little bit with this action. It's okay. Several steps of organic terrain changes will end up with like a good terrain situation at the end. I hope. Killjoy says, watching this makes me want to play around with map building. Coming from a graphic design or Photoshop background, looks like something I could get lost in and do for hours. And Unity, you can get a free version of Unity and fiddle around with it. You can do pretty much most of the basic stuff that I do. It is super fun. I like this kind of thing. As far as like your graphic design background, like if you ever wanted to do like a quick and dirty 3D version of a building or something, and you didn't want to sort of drawn out the old-fashioned way with perspective and all that, you could sort of just model it out real quick, your area, and then kind of trace over it or something. And a lot of people have pre-made buildings, so if, like, if you wanted to make it like a city scene or something like that, you can sort of grab existing pieces from the Unity store. I usually do all this sort of stuff with the lights off. Once in a while, I'll turn the lights on. Oh, it's the worst kind of lighting for when I'm trying to test, because too dark. I guess I can change the light source, light direction, but I don't feel like it. We are now approaching the portion of the live stream where my dog huffs at me and sometimes barks in an effort to get free food. Here we go. Shush. Just like last time, I'll probably spend too much time on this weird gimmick that probably doesn't get me much bang for the buck. Doing it anyway. Sometimes you gotta experiment. I'll call quits with this gimmick in a second to start painting it. As long as it's not like flat, I'll call it a win, I guess. Alright, good enough. So go back to painting so I get a sense of what I did before. I did some snow on the high points and then just sort of did the poor man's fade out. For those showing up late, we're in Ulfheim once again, and I am continuing on with my reimagining of the scene. Picked up where we left off, which is in the treehouse area, or the upcoming treehouse area of Ulfheim. Oh, that's not smooth enough. Oh, this isn't smooth enough. Better. How much would it cost for you guys to change game engines to Unreal Engine? Says Naloth. No idea. I'm sure tons. Because we couldn't just change the engine. We'd have to change a lot of things. We'd have to change our process. I'm not as familiar with. I did work in Unreal, but I didn't do any world building stuff, so I wouldn't really be able to help with that stuff in Unreal. Like I'm doing now. This is super easy. It'll be a learning curve, and some of the things we do, you know, whether it's the quest stuff or exploring, you know, all that stuff would have to change. And then there'd be testing. Some of it wouldn't work. We have to get rid of some. Some things wouldn't make the transition. It'd be a big deal. I'm sure some of us would love to do it. I think Travis's world building tools would be something he's more familiar with, and he'd have a happy day. I don't really know all that goes into it though, but it'd be a huge change. And when Moon points out you can't change a little at a time, that's true. You'd have to do an all or nothing thing. You have to commit. And imagine you got most of the way and maybe you realize you weren't really getting the benefits you thought you would. Like maybe the scenes can kind of convert to Unreal, but then maybe you realize later, like, oh man, something about our optimization is out the window now, or maybe we really liked our ocean water and now that doesn't work, or maybe our swimming triggers don't work and we need to make those from scratch, which maybe is okay, but you know that takes time, and maybe there's a whole bunch of things like that need to also switch. Switching a game engine is never trivial. Some people do it though. Some game companies do it. I don't know of any game company that switched with a game that was actually live though. Usually they do it a couple of years before they actually have to launch. I'm assuming some snow buildup on the walls. Hopefully I place these in such a way where I can actually pinch the ground up and have it just sort of look perfect, but it may not. That's probably fine. I'll hit it with the smoothness when I'm done. Is this the official channel list? No Dog JJJ. Yes, it is the official channel for Shroud of the Avatar, the game. As far as changing game engines, Owen suggests easier to get Unity to change. It would be nice if they changed based upon our needs. My understanding is that they do, the Unity team does listen and try to make changes based upon customer needs, but that they also don't really work on big projects like ours. Big project in the sense that our project package is massive, and so we'll run into problems just because of the scope of our game that the Unity team won't really, maybe they won't consider, or maybe they have a tough time reproducing because they handle big projects. You know, it's usually smaller games, not massively multiplayer games. Whoops, wrong one. So the snow builds up over here because no one walks over there, and it usually sort of drifts up against the wall. So it just kind of makes sense. Where's the other one? Oops. But if I look over here at this one, I see I have this snow right in the center, and then a transition to grass because it kind of gets trampled, and the rocky dirt is what you use for the heavy path area. So let's sort of come back. And that was a little sharp right there, and soften it up a little. There we go. Here. I like that we have these transition types, textures, so it doesn't go straight from snow to snowy grass. So we have our path right there. We'll sort of touch it up a little bit in a second. So if people come in here, the common way to go is here, and should sort of smooth that a little bit. And then they kind of go in this way, I guess. And then they'll go in here probably. So these people actually probably sort of cut the corner. Going right to this dude. And they sort of combine over here. And they don't go over the bump right there. They sort of stick to the side. And actually come over here. Can't forget this over here. So this will be like a side path. Pretty much everyone comes in from over here, I guess. The dog is waiting for me to do something. So having two different, having snowy grass and grassy snow is kind of nice, because if you put too much of one type of texture, you run the risk of like creating a pattern. This one's actually great, so there's a really low risk of having a pattern appear. It would be super visible, but you really can break it up really nicely with some of these transitions. I don't really know what I'm doing over there yet. Just kind of stick over here first. I haven't saved in a while. Save now. Give me a second. Sheen BS says, just finished installing. Can't wait to hop in. Sounds good. We made a lot of changes for the user experience recently. Hopefully they work well for you, as we think they should be. Alright, so I kind of like my road here. I'm going to do gimmick of kind of dropping the road a little bit. That's just one. Let's go to Scene Extreme. Don't panic. Oh, that's really sensitive. Still, don't panic. We'll switch to the set height. I like using set height a lot. It doesn't push it down in big dips like that. Get a better sense of where I'm going. I'll raise this up some as we go. Kind of push it to a little bit extreme levels, and then when I use the smooth tool, it should the average of the two areas should work out well, I hope. I'm going to ignore these in the way. Let's get back over here. If you hear, it's going to be the noises. Pay attention to the noises. Yep, that was one you definitely heard that, I'm sure. For those who don't know, I have a dog named Hero, and he likes to bark when I'm on the broadcast. Or on the phone. Something about me talking and not talking to him, perhaps. I think it's a game or something. I'm not really sure. And maybe he just feels that every time I'm talking, I should be talking to him. So, fully trampled walkway to lead to the areas that we probably want to go. We'll raise some other spots. Whoops. Push some extremes a little bit. Smooth it again, and then we'll move on to a set of grass and trees in some of this area. Shh. Save it again. Checking the chat. As He's yelling at you saying he wants a milk bone. That is very likely true, and I think you do speak dog. Milk bone. So you are more correct than you thought. I like to break it in half, so he thinks he's getting 2 things. There you go. There you go. Look, 2 things, buddy. In fact, 4 things. Ooh. You were just joking? No, you weren't. You're plugged into the hive mind. You're one of us now. With extras. Thought you were joking, but that's absurd. You were on the money, my friend. On the money. Hopefully this these transitions look okay. And this dirt, this rock passes as the dirt, as I hope it does. Travis can make whatever adjustments he thinks would be appropriate. I would almost like Travis to have like a heavy hand in some of this. So I appreciate his artistic eye. Too many of some of these. Yikes. 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 I'm just tapping it, but it's like I'm drawing the brush. Yikes. At a low setting, and still just like really goes crazy. So some of these I know are overlapping the road and going in areas where they shouldn't be, but I'll remove those in a bit. There's a few extras here and there that will just get pulled out later on. I want some grass. I don't want too much grass. I want it to feel like there's grass here. The grass hasn't fully died yet. Maybe got covered pretty quick by a fast snow. And the snow melted pretty quick, so the grass isn't dead. But it shouldn't feel like lush, like there's tons of grass all over. And once in a while, there are big clumps of grass. I guess that's okay. I just don't want to have a lot. I don't want to have this. So I'm just dabbing it. Tap. Tap. And maybe you can see I'm using that weird brush that's just a bunch of dots. I don't really do much over there. I'm not sure what I want to do for that. I have two types of grasses. Kind of nice to mix them up. Kind of like what I said before. Sort of you get a break up the patterns. It just sort of feels better. Ugh. Some of this grass I'll remove. Put some extra objects here and there. Decorations. Tool selected. And then just do like 4 or 5 times. Hey, shush. I think he knows what I'm talking about. So it's kind of neat how Unity has so I have a brush and I could tap like that and it makes grass, but I can also tap with shift pressed and it removes grass from the spots that I have selected. So if I think this is too thick, I could just kind of like tap with the shift selected and it removes some, so it's a bit less dense. So I don't want it to seem too lush. Check the chat to see what you guys are talking about. Oh, Atos, you have to teach Keith how to do raffles. Yep. I'll get more than 57 viewers. It's true. Heart attack dog can scare people also. Yeah, sorry about that. Moved on. I guess maybe if I had continuous dialogue or some music in the background or something, I guess it might diffuse as like out of nowhere barks. So it would be just like a roll. Guess he finished the milk bones. Yes, he did. I think part of the problem is Sannio speaks softly, 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 then well, yep, I guess that's what I was saying. That's true, Chris. Let's get some trees in here. I kind of think most of the trees in the center are a little dead. Maybe some tree canopies really kind of blocking it. But maybe there's a big one over here. Where's those big ones? That was the one I wanted. But I think I also wanted this. two types of trees like that. That's the first one, and that's the second one. Put some of those trees on the outer edge. Because they're getting some sunlight out here, so that kind of works for them. Sometimes you can actually have trees growing out from some of these holes. Sometimes it works out really well. Yeah, look, see, that seems reasonable right there. Make use of the rocks. And keep it always bent at the top. I don't want that. Didn't care for that. So as people walk and there's branches, sometimes I like to make use of those splits. Like, of course they make the right after the tree. The tree's in the way. It makes a lot of sense. And then I can adjust the size. There's a randomizer to the size of things, but you can also force a change. So you see that's smaller than that one over there. And I can sort of scale up the randomizer spread back up to normal. Like that one. Sometimes you can sort of just try it a couple times and you get something like that. I want it back a little bit more. Too close, too similar. Go back there later. That'll be the last major part, I guess. There'll be some trees down here. I don't want to go too crazy with them. So if it's too full, then just create a bad mesh problem. I don't want to do that. There's that small thin one. That's another case where you can put in the rocks and kind of poke through the rock area. I don't know where to put that. Maybe that's fine. Random. I also have these stumps I can put in after the fact. I might put in a couple of stumps here and there. So I either want to put it close to the rocks or away from the rocks that people can walk in. I don't want to sort of like have a maybe area. It's kind of forced to be one or the other. Yeah. Want some more milk ones? Yeah. Kind of leaves a mess. I just need to vacuum it when I do this gimmick. This quiet hero down gimmick. Trying not to get the leaves too overlappy. That's good. Need some green in here. What is this? Nope. 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 Oh, I like that one. Trying to get in that spot right there, but I guess the ground's not flat enough. Nice thing about keeping the ground maintained even when you can't see it is that it's easier to place things, except almost kind of had it in that one spot. Oh, that's good enough. Oh, it's clipping too bad. We're going to need a bigger tree. Not that one. Whoops. I'm spending too much time on this. There you go. Cool. Quits on that one. Oops. So I didn't really have any specific purpose for these, just that they're here. Maybe I'll put something underneath them. I also kind of thought that maybe they would be like, maybe I'd do something like they were in the tree. These are kind of kid-bashed. So we can see there's no poles on a couple of them. You kind of spiked onto the tree or something, hung onto them somewhere. I kind of like the idea that they're angled, so that way when snow falls on one, it just, or rain or something, just dribbles down to the other one. I don't know what I'm going to put under there. I'll put something under there. Crates, barrels, the old standards. One thing that's nice when you're spawning things, it's nice to have anchors for bad guys. And if you're out in the wilderness, maybe the anchor is like a tree or a rock or something that from a player perspective, you could say, like, let's attack that guy by the rock, or let's fight that guy walking on the path, or that guy near the doorway. But it also kind of makes sense if some guy he's walking on a path. That's his spot. You know, he's got a purpose. He's not just in the middle of a patch of grass, which is weird and weak. People don't usually stand out in the middle of an open field for trouble, I imagine. Let's say there's less grass under there. Let's also say it's been trampled on a little bit more. But you know what? Actually, maybe not right there. That way the posts are. So people probably come from the path right here to get to that thing, whatever it is. So put some of the mostly snow grass to sort of force the concept of a path, go to a well-worn path. So maybe that works. There's another one over here somewhere. I feel that was. Find it later. Like points out, let's put a pretty little tree here, and how about some happy root rocks? And so, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna hit the play button. It's not gonna work exactly right because bad guys aren't set up to walk on here, and there might be errors that you guys don't see. But I'll be able to walk around in the whatever the lighting is, whatever time of day it is. I'm drinking this green high C. Reminds me of Ecto Cooler, which was also by High C. This is the spiritual successor to Ecto Cooler. It's pretty big into Ecto Cooler when it was out. Or, it might even still be out. I think it's not out anywhere, but I was a fan. So we'll wait for the play mode to kick in. I pressed the button a while back. Takes a while. Takes a while. Anybody got any questions while waiting for the play mode to kick in? Oh, it's kicking in. Still kicking in. Just jump down here. It's kind of dark, so let's change time of day. I'm in ghost mode, so you guys can't see me. These things, of course, will not be floating in the end. There's all my rocks. Did I turn off something? Alright, hold on a second. I'm missing a lot of rocks here. Coming out of play mode. Why don't all my rocks go away? Oh, I got into the wrong folder. Made me nervous. Made me nervous. They've got moved to a folder which automatically turns off when play mode kicks in. Saving right now. Of course, a more complex scene, a little more time it takes to save. Bedouin loves the tents that appear in adventure scenes. Even if we can't drop items there, just having a comfortable place out of the rain to sit makes it feel like a temporary home base. Yeah, I like our tents. We had some problems early on with the collision was in the sort of triangle entryway. It was a little too pinched, so colliders, especially colliders of taller avatars, wouldn't fit through them all the time. So we made some adjustments, and now all the tents, you should be able to go in and out of all the tents. Except for the one, we have one super small tent that clearly you can't walk in it, but the basic tent that we saw down below, those ones, they got fixed a long time ago. Also, I like putting some basic stuff in tents. You know, you put in a bedroll, you put in a lantern, maybe you put in a crate, you know, just 2 or 3 things, and suddenly it's very homey. Still waiting for it to save. It's taking longer than I was expected. Alright, done. Now I hit play mode again, and now we're waiting. And we're waiting. That was actually being pretty good, this stream. A lot of times he'll bark and keep trying to get my attention, but he's behaving. Then when continues, that's part of what makes them great. They kind of look like they'd be too small for an avatar to comfortably move around in, but you can. Yeah. One nice thing too about tents is so there's a spawning concept that developers have. They call it a spawn closet. Sometimes a spawn closet is a literal thing. It's like a cave or doorway or something that is actually a spawner, and that's where the bad guys are produced and pop up at that doorway. But we don't have our spawners like that. They were the little green squares that I was pointing out before that are spread throughout the scene. But sometimes I don't like to spawn a guy like in the middle of the woods or field or whatever. I kind of like to spawn next to something, kind of like that anchor thing before. So if I can spawn, if there's a bad guy that needs to be spawned in here, instead of spawning him like right where I'm standing right now, I'd rather spawn him here, kind of facing this way, as though he's sort of emerging from the cave. You know, it smooths the fiction a little bit. Besides making it feel nice for Bedouin, it I think he may not even realize it. You guys may not realize it, but it makes it feel more sensible when replacement guys pop up that they're by a doorway, by the arch of a tent, by a bush, like he came out from behind a tree, all that stuff. Okay, normally it'd be guys spawning, but of course we don't have that set up. We can use our slew command, which you guys now have a version of. Oops, I guess I did it wrong. Let's see some different times a day. So that was 9. Let's go for 12. Let's go for 6. 21. I'll need to put some lights on the inside of that place for sure. Maybe some lights as you go up here too. Let's go 14 o'clock. 10 a.m. Oh, it's raining now too. So it's good to do different times when you're making the world like this, because you want to see how the different shadows fall and how things look at night. Do you need extra light sources? Do I just need to pop a hole in one of these walls so that some light comes through in a interesting or valuable way? Normally I have a Sannio character that I use. I don't know why I'm still in this test character. I'm going to switch. You know what, I'll just leave it. I'll switch off screen. I need to clear off some of this grass. So walking here, walking on the well-worn paths. Go through the place I did last time. I need to flatten this out a little bit, I think. Will this break? So there's a pause here. I mentioned to some players sometimes on the forums. The first time you get loot in a session, there's a big pregnant pause like this while you get your first loot. After this, it'll just be super quick. One problem that happens is when players do their Oracle tests and the first time they're getting loot, the conversation's stuck, and they think they need to keep typing stuff in the conversation to get the Oracle test reward, but really you're often stuck on that first time looting situation. See, second time looting, it's all right there, easy. So if you don't like getting hung up in Oracle test, like go kill a rabbit or something and loot it, and then get that delay business out of the way. So still walking around here. It smells pretty good. I don't know about this big tree right there, but maybe it's okay. Coming through here, and then this looks stuck along. Some of this is long. I can't get up there. I guess this tree has maybe a big sphere, ball, or something like that. So this feels kind of reasonable, I think. So let's go up here. Need to make sure I have enough big trees so that it feels like these trees just aren't weird aberrations. I mean, I guess they could have been planted by barbarian magic seeds that grow enormous trees or something like that. But better to have, like, see, we got that extra tree over there, and this is like a lot smaller versions. Probably should have a lot more. Maybe out in the beyond the play space. You know what? I want to go over here and check to see if I can go behind this space. Yes, I can. We flew through this before. Now we're going to run through it a little bit. Imagine me fighting. Punch, stab, slice, punch. This worries me a little bit. This feels a little tight. I may have to move something here. I might put some of those poison traps here and there. These barbarians are used to them. That's a little weird. I need to stretch that down a little bit so it reaches. I need to make sure this garland stuff reaches properly. Like none of that sort of floating in the air stuff, but that'll be later on. Oh, maybe something. I'm stuck on something. That's sort of a choke point. I'll probably put a little flat collider there, like that one we saw before that I put in the dangerous potential stuck spot that's, I think it was out there somewhere. I need to fix that. I could have sworn these lined up. So you can't get out in any of these. It's basically a solid wall right there. Collider wall. Invisible wall. But if you had to shoot somebody through there, not that you can really reach somebody, but you could shoot somebody through there. Set up like that. This is double wide for better fighting. Let's see, this actually works better than the other little triangle pit. Special door over here of some type. Now I'm crossing. Keep going, don't stop. Trigger him. Alright. So there'll be bad guys throughout here, you know, some inside these buildings. Not in here, not in the place we're about to go. Those buildings will be blocked off. But in here, I'll get rid of that grass. We'll be able to go inside here and fight guys. So here we'll have this mystical blocker. Yep. Hello, dude. so shocked that one of these guys was able to get there. I need to be sure the collider's a little better on that. It's not aligned well. Now I'm trapped in here, but this one... Oh, there's no collider on it. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Sannio and Wolf. Yep, they might join the bad guys here. And then when everyone's dead, this gate goes down, and then you go in here to final battle. The gate is low. Oh, what's up, dude? Alright, come out play mode. Alright, maybe that's what I got for you for today. Some more Ulfheim work. So the village is looking good, both parts. The ramp between the valley and the treehouse is looking good. The treehouse area and all the general play space is looking good. I'll have to work on the wall a little bit more. The wall being the rock wall. I need to work down here a bit. Won't need to put much here, but I'll have to put some like cauldrons. Obviously, a lot of bones here and there throughout the whole place. Injuredness, just curious. When's it looking to be completed? I'm not trying to rush, just curious. I don't know. I was kind of hoping it would be done already, but usually we have multiple people working on this. In this particular case, it's all me, so I'm maybe spending a little extra time on some things that maybe like Travis might not. Travis might have like techniques to just sort of work through certain areas, or we might have had a better plan going in. But you know, last release I thought it would be this release. This release I'll say maybe it's next release, but I don't know. It's the world building that's holding me up. The spawning and putting the side activities and the battle royales, and that battle royales being the wave battles. That would be just a couple of days for me, just a few days. But you know, as I keep getting pulled onto other things, and I keep coming back to this. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited about it. I actually haven't checked it into our project yet, and I need to do that to make sure it gets locked in. So I don't lose anything. So there you go. How much labor would it normally take to build a scene from scratch? People hours, if that's all they were doing. So when we had an extra amount of people, kind of what we would do is there'd be a world builder would take. So first it'd be like a sort of a pitch meeting where we'd say, okay, here's kind of what we want for this scene. Northeast quadrant has maybe a village. Northwest quadrant has these caves. You know, we sort of like split up to 4 quadrants, maybe a fifth one as well. So each quadrant would sort of have its own special kind of theme to it, and we know in general what the terrain styles and trees and grass and all that stuff would be, and our world builder would have that in mind. And then the world builder would spend you know, 3 to 5 days maybe sort of creating like an early version of the map, and then when he got to a certain point, he'd start sort of splitting. The time was split between what he's doing and the level designer, who would be putting in all the bad guys and the Yonks and the teleporters and resource nodes and like all the extra stuff. And then sort of at that point, it's sort of like maybe like another 4 days for the world builder to finish off everything, you know. And sort of we're going back and forth with meetings where everyone says like, you kind of built this a certain way. We were hoping it was another way. Or like, oh, you put in A. I thought we talked about having it A, N, B, and C. So let's see if we can work that in. So there'd be changes. So maybe like another 4 days or 5 days or something for the world building, and probably like 4 or 5 days for all the stuff that level design does. Level design does like, it's like a big catch-all for like a lot of stuff. You know, in general you could say it's spawning, but it's like anything that doesn't come under anyone else's category is the level designer. Ankhs, if it's crafting stations, once in a while we have crafting stations in the wilderness. He might make some tweaks for combat spaces. He'll put in like bad guys on walking paths, maybe wave battle situations, maybe puzzle, maybe Easter eggs. Maybe the world builder's also doing some of this stuff, so it sort of overlaps. And then the quest guy is doing stuff. So like in our heyday, you know, we might have Sorcerer Steve making a map, and then Dan, Plague Locust, doing the spawning, and then maybe I was also doing like a quest that would, depending upon the quest, it might take me like anywhere from like almost a day to 3 days to make a little side quest that related to it, that, you know, that you probably started somewhere and then went there and then came back to where we started. So that was kind of what it was. But so mostly this is me now. So like the wave battles and puzzle stuff, I have all those pieces. I did those first. I didn't want to start any of this without sort of having all these like little side gimmick things. The world building, you know, I'm not as fast as the dedicated world builders, so it takes me a little longer. But I feel I'm going at an okay clip. You know, and I can't. I also have all these other things I have to do. Like I do the player own towns, and you know, level design and world building, quest bug fixes, and sometimes additional quests. Like this, I don't know if it got on the list. I think it must be on some list somewhere. But I put a ghost in Brittany Graveyard that'll be in the next release. His name is Owen, and he's sort of a tribute to Richard Garriott's father, Owen Garriott, who passed away. And then we added a quest onto him, and his quest, it's not too complicated quest. It's a reasonable side quest. It's actually I kind of have two possible. You get sent to a different scene at a certain point, and depending upon your virtue score, you'll go to one scene if it's one way, or you go to a different scene if it's a different way. And we don't usually do. I don't know that we actually done anything like that. I definitely haven't done it on a side quest to give you a different option depending upon what your virtue score is. I'd like to do more of that. I'd like to have your virtue mean more. Did you enjoy the barbecue at Chris's? Yes, I did. I had to leave early because I had to bring my dog to the vet, but I was able to stay to do all the work in the first half of the day, and then I was able to get some food before I had to leave, and it was pretty awesome. Hi Keith, says Elrond, King of Elves. How difficult would it be to allow us to terraform pots, make non-builder areas buildable, add a lake, or remove mountains, stuff like that? This has kind of come up before, so it would depend how you did it. If you're asking to be able to reshape terrain in the way that you've seen me reshape terrain here, that would kind of be impossible for the way we have pots set up, and maybe just from a practical standpoint. So every biome for player-owned town, say the Forest 01 biome, all the Forest 01 pots use the same terrain. So if I have a Forest 01 pot, you have a Forest 01 pot, if you reshape the terrain somehow, then it gets reshaped for me too, and now my pot is screwed up because you made a hill where I had a house, and now my house is sunken halfway into a new hill. My dog's barking in. Some players have asked, like, well, maybe we can get like decorations that kind of fake that, like maybe you know, this rocky boulder kind of things, or like some sort of like a fake lake, I guess. That would be something that our decoration makers would have to talk about. Hold on a second. What's up, hero? You calling for me? Actually, I think he was barking at a cat or something. Oh, no, he's coming. Oh, I made a mistake. There you go, buddy. Keep him quiet. So maybe some decorations like that could eventually be done, but they wouldn't have the same, like if you made a lake, you wouldn't be able to swim in it. It would have to be some weird, so like raised crater kind of thing. Yeah, it would be. It would all have to be like decoration pieces, and they would clearly be placed on top of existing terrain. You wouldn't really be shaping the terrain. You wouldn't be changing it so that way you could put a house on top of something. You wouldn't be flattening areas where you could put a house, which I think is often what a big part of what people are asking about when they ask this type of question. Almost spilled my drink there. My green liquid. Alright, I think I'm about to sign off. I'm going to look for raid potential. And then if anybody has any other last minute questions, then definitely chime in. I gotta be careful because the last time we raided to a channel where the operator, the streamer, wasn't available. So there was just like a shot of his empty chair, or her empty chair. Hold on one second. Let's see who we want.
But it's great. It's a great addition for the game.
I'm going for Delane because he's doing some decorating, and I think that sort of goes along with the theme of what we're doing. So, here we go. Read Delane. Rainy is about to be engaged. Thank you everyone for coming. I hope you enjoyed the information and backstory and tips that I shared. And, please play Shroud of the Avatar. ShroudOfTheAvatar.com. Free to play game. Alright, rating. Ratings engaged. In a moment, I'll hit the raid now button. Hold on. And here we go. Thanks.
Oh, thanks, Sannio, for that raid, dude. Thanks, man. How was Ulfheim? We was just trying to figure out if I can get my grubby little mitts on these greenhouses and make extra growth, but yeah, it didn't work. Coming along slowly but surely. Nice, dude. Hey, Elrond. How's it going? Thanks, Greggy, for the raid. Yeah. I had